Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jashodanandana Brajajana Jashodanandana Brajajana Jamuna Tira Jamuna Tira Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Jayong Vishnupad Paramhansha Paribrajacacharya Ashtottar Shatoshi Srimad Abhay Charanaravindra Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai Namacharya Shila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shyam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Vrindavan Chandra Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Shamabeta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gaurango. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunnavadi Paschatya Deshutarine Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantharaj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th Canto, Chapter 16, Praise of King Prithu by the professional reciters. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Deving Sarasating Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudiraye Nashtuprayeshu abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam, 4th canto, chapter 16. Today's verse was actually, takes 15, but 15 doesn't have any purport. So I'll just recite the 15th verse and then go to 16. Do you all recite together? Okay. So I'll just read through. Ranjay Shati Yallokam Ayam Atma Vichishtitai Athamam Ahu Rajanam Manoranjanakai Prajaha. The king will please everyone by his practical activities, and all of his citizens will remain very satisfied. Because of this, the citizens will take great satisfaction in accepting him as their ruling king. I'll go to take 16. Dridha Brataha Satya Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha Dhridabrata Satta Sandho Brahmano Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha Dridhabrata Satta Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha Dridhabrata Satta Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha Dhridabrata Satya Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha
Dhridabrata Satya Sandho
Dhridabrata Satya Sandho
Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha
Manado Deenavatsalaha Dhridabrata Satya Sandho Brahmano Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha. Ladies, Brahmano Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha. Ladies,
Dhridabrata Satya Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarvabhutana Manado Deenavatsalaha Dhridabrata Satya Sandho Brahmanyo Vriddha Sevakaha
Sharanya Sarva Bhutanam Manado Dinavatsala. Drishabrata, firmly determined. Satyasandha, always situated in truth. Brahmanya, a lover of the Brahminical culture. Vriddha Sevaka, a servitor of the old men. Sharanya, to be taken shelter of. Sarva Bhutanam, of all living entities. Manada, one who gives respect to all. Dinavatsalaha, very kind to the poor and helpless. Translation by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Please repeat after me. The king will be firmly determined, and always situated in truth. He'll be a lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The word Vriddha Sevaka is very significant. Vriddha means old men. There are two kinds of old men. One is old by age and another is old by knowledge. This Sanskrit word indicates that one can be older by the advancement of knowledge. That one can be older by the advancement of knowledge. King Prithu was very respectful to the Brahmanas and he protected them. He also protected persons advanced in age. Whatever the king would decide to do, no one would be able to stop. That is called Drisha Sankalpa or Drisha Brata. Om Ajnanati Mirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chukshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtham Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamaiham Dadati Swapadantikam. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashani Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Drisha Brata Sattu Sandho Brahmana Vriddha Sevakaha Sharanya Sarva Bhutanam Manado Dinavatsalaha. The king will be firmly determined and always situated in truth. He will be a lover of the Brahminical culture and will render all service to old men and give shelter to all surrendered souls. Giving respect to all, he will always be merciful to the poor and innocent. I presume that this chapter has been selected for GBC College.
Yes.
Yeah. So, these are the qualities that a leader must have. And ISKCON is the institution that is designed to create leaders for the whole world. Devotees by nature are leaders. They're meant to be leaders because they're going to lead with the perfect knowledge. Time and time again, Prabhupada pointed out that in this world there is so much informations available, so many informations. But all those informations are related to the material nature. And there is no information about the spiritual nature. People are quite oblivious about the existence of the spiritual reality. Like in India, even a poor, even an uneducated, illiterate person knows about the existence of the soul. We sometimes, when we try to preach to some simple people, like rickshaw pullers, you speak to them, they know the soul is there. They know God is there. They may not have the proper understanding, but at least this conviction is there that the soul is there, and the soul actually makes the body alive. But unfortunately, in the Western world, there is an acute shortage of that knowledge. Like once in South Africa, I was talking to a retired judge, and in course of our discussion, he was very strongly denying that the animals have souls. And it took me about half an hour to make him understand what the soul is. I mean, he was saying the animals don't have soul because they do not know what soul actually is. And so, whereas in the Vedic understanding, the real spiritual understanding is that what to speak of animals, even the insects, what to speak of insects, even the trees and plants have soul. So that knowledge is missing in the world today. India, that used to have this knowledge so readily available and accepted by practically everyone, but due to the Western influence, Indians also are losing that culture. They are also losing this very, very important knowledge and understanding. And the thing is that if we do not have the proper understanding about the spiritual reality, which may start from the acceptance of the existence of the soul, one cannot properly accept the existence of God. One may say that they believe in God, but they don't actually have any understanding who God is. So what's the point in believing in something when you do not really have the knowledge who He is? Whereas this knowledge that Prabhupada is imparting through his books are containing all those informations. And we can see that due to this arrangement of Srila Prabhupada, people all over the world are becoming aware of the spiritual reality, becoming aware of the existence of the soul, and eventually existence of God. When we discuss with people, we can approach in a very simple way. Matter by nature is inert. Matter by nature is inert. Like this microphone is inert, this table is inert, this seat is inert. But you and I, we all are we inert or conscious? Although our bodies are made of matter, why? How come we are conscious? While matter is dead, how come we all are alive? A very simple consideration, because of the presence of the soul. And the soul makes the body function in such an amazing way. Not only the human bodies, every body. Like some some months ago, once I was talking to a scientist. He's from Switzerland, and he was his line was biochemistry. So I asked him, what's the difference between organic and inorganic substances? How many of you studied chemistry? Yeah. So we have two branches, organic and inorganic. Now, organic substances are very simple. Inorganic substances are very simple. Organic substances are very complex. So I got into that. He gave the bookish definition. And then I asked him that, did it ever occur to you that all the organic substances are coming from living source? So he asked, what do you mean? So I told him that it's coming from living source. You cannot create them in a laboratory in an artificial way. For example, the simplest organic substance is methane, CH4. And I asked him, could you manufacture methane in laboratory? He said, yes, we have done that. Then I asked him, then why don't you mass produce it? He said, that will be very expensive. So I told him that means you have artificially created an environment where you compelled a carbon atom to combine with 4 hydrogen atoms. But in reality you can't. But whereas in the marshland, when the weeds rot, methane is generated. I said, okay, fine, methane you have produced. What about sugar? A simple 6 carbon atoms and 6 water molecules. Could you manufacture that in the laboratory? He said, no, we haven't. I said, well, you can't manufacture that in a laboratory, but a sugarcane plant is abundantly manufacturing without any difficulty. And then it just led to the point that all the organic substances are very complex. Like the body cell. Our body cell, if you want to write the formula of the body cell, you'll need a page which is about 100 miles long. So that is how, see, the thing is, as soon as the simple elements of nature, like say, as I said, carbon and water, comes in contact with the body, and it becomes a body cell, so complex, which is otherwise a very simple structure, C6H12O6, that means 6 carbons to 6 water. Like this is coming in contact with the body in our stomach, and it is converted into a body cell. And he ultimately had to admit, he first kept on saying, interesting. And then finally he said, yes, it makes sense. So this is it. Like intelligent class of people, when they become exposed to this knowledge, they do accept it. We don't have to go very far. All of you, you become convinced about, most of you, how many of you believed in the existence of the soul, or you had the understanding of the soul beforehand? Before coming to Krishna Consciousness? Okay. You are the few fortunate souls. Okay, how many of you had the knowledge of understanding of God? Yeah? Can you define what was your understanding of God at that time?
Of God? Of God?
Yeah.
I grew up in Christianity. So
yeah. But what is the Christian information about God?
He's a person, and he will speak through Jesus.
Yeah. Okay, so you may have a little understanding.
Can you repeat, though? We heard the question, we didn't hear the answer.
Right. But now, what about now?
Now he's a person and he's...
Yes, you have all information about him. You know him perfectly. Isn't it? All of you. Don't you know who God is? Is it yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So, we know. Like, basic understanding of God was something like, He is the supreme creator, He is the supreme maintainer, and He is the Father. But the thing is, did you know what He looks like? No. Did you know where He lives? Did you know what He does? No. But now we have all those informations. Like, that is what Prabhupada's books are providing us, providing this whole world. And this is how this is going to create a revolution, a spiritual revolution all over the world. And that's the responsibility we have. Srila Prabhupada started the revolution. Hare Krishna movement. It's a movement. And now we have the responsibility to carry it further. That is the responsibility that we have inherited from our founder Acharya, Srila Prabhupada. He has given it to us, and now it's up to us to further it. And we have to take it to every town and village. Will it happen? Yes. Yes. How can the words of the Lord go in vain? He said every town and village, so it's bound to happen. And we have seen how in such an amazing way Srila Prabhupada has made it happen. Made it happen. I mean, if we consider Srila Prabhupada's achievements, then we can see it's the most amazing thing that has ever happened in this world. And Srila Prabhupada has given us these books. Like practically in every page, we get such clear understanding of who God is and what we should be like it, when it comes to the quality of a king. Quality of a king means a leader. Quality of a leader. And he's giving, in the whole chapter is actually, even not only this chapter, the previous chapter also begins with that. Like, as leaders, what we have to do? We have to be respectful towards the spiritual culture. Brahmanya. Dridhabrata. A person in a leadership position must be determined in whatever he is trying to achieve. Leader must know how to lead. And lead to where? To a ditch. And that's what is happening in today's world. The blind leaders are leading their followers into a ditch. Because where can a blind man lead to other than a ditch or out of a cliff? But these are the qualities that a leader must have. And chapter after chapter we are actually getting this understanding. And this verse is actually giving us a clear understanding. I'll also discuss a little bit of the previous one. The king will please everyone by his practical activities. His activities should be pleasing to others. He should not create anxiety or distress, but he will give them the solace and hope. Give them the shelter. That is a leader. And all of his citizens will remain very satisfied. When the leader is leading properly, then his followers will naturally become satisfied. And we have seen how Srila Prabhupada actually inspired his followers. They were prepared to do everything for him. Like yesterday in the class in the college, GBC College, I was actually telling them about one incident. When I joined early days, like at that time Prabhupada was in America, and I used to love to hear about Prabhupada, and I used to ask the devotees about Srila Prabhupada. So there was one devotee, Kamal Narayan Prabhu, and while he was telling me about Srila Prabhupada, and he mentioned something that was very, very striking. And he said that devotees are so loyal to Srila Prabhupada, they have such faith in Srila Prabhupada, that if Prabhupada asked them to jump from the top of a skyscraper, they would do that without batting an eyelid. So that is a leader. And that is how the followers actually become inspired to follow him. It's not that Srila Prabhupada will ever ask anybody to jump from the top of from the skyscraper. But the point is that what Prabhupada would ask them to do, they would just do that without any hesitation. And we have seen, I mean, right in front of us is Malati Devi. Like what they had done. Like yesterday only she was reminding me that she went with her baby, Saraswati, who were only 6 weeks old. They went to England in total uncertainty. They didn't know. They didn't even have the money. I don't need to sing in front of the choir, to the choir. Anyway, since it came to my mind, you all went to Amsterdam or? Yeah.
Holland, where you?
Yeah. So because the flight to London was more expensive, the cheaper flights were to Holland and Luxembourg, and they took that flight, and they thought that they will cross the channel and go to England. But they realized that in order to enter into England, you have to have certain amount of money to show them. They didn't have that kind of money with them. So they gathered all the money they had together, and one couple went across.
We borrowed money from Srila Prabhupada in Montreal.
Okay, and that also was not sufficient.
No, it got us in 2 at a time.
But you couldn't all 6 go to London,
No,
right? Because you didn't have enough. Right, and yeah. Okay, please tell us the.
We borrowed $1,500 from Prabhupada. He gave it from the BBT. And we entered 2 at a time, first myself and Shamsundar and Saraswati, then sent the money back.
That's the point I was making, yeah. So you send the money back. They didn't have enough money for all 6 of them.
Back to the other devotees.
Yes.
And then the next pair came, sent the money back. The next pair came. And then we sent the money back to Prabhupada, and it got lost. And Shamsundar, who was the one who initiated the arrangement, was devastated. And Prabhupada wrote him this really nice letter. He goes, "Don't worry, that was a 5th-class bank." So eventually the money could.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada.
We were there without any money.
Yeah. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Malati Devi ki jai. Hare Krishna. So that's a leader. Because his activities are so inspiring that everyone who follows him becomes inspired. And they're prepared to do whatever he wants them to do. Not for no rhyme or reason, but because the kind of example that they set. So while we are studying these books, we actually have to make it a point to acquire those qualities ourselves that Prabhupada is actually giving us. And while I was reading that, one point came very much at the back of my mind. Vriddha Sevaka. Sevaka, service to Vriddhas, elderly persons. And we are gradually coming to a situation when in ISKCON, you see, early days everyone was young, but now we are getting old. And very soon, already the society is facing that there are so many elderly devotees and they need care. They need, and we have to, especially the leaders of our movement, we have to make arrangements so that the elderly devotees are properly situated. And let us see how to do that. At least we must at least try to make an effort to make it happen. I have noticed that Badrinaran Maharaj is very much into that. One of his main concern is to create arrangements for elderly devotees. He is trying to do something in Mayapur, and also in the West we have to do that. We have to take care of the elderly ones, we have to take care of the women, we have to take care of the children. Unless and until we give protection to those who need protection, how can our movement grow? How will have people confidence in us? So those of us who are actually have the responsibility and those who are trying to assume that responsibility, we have to be very concerned about these needs of our society. We have to start thinking how to make it happen. Like even whatever little we can do, let's try to do. Just as drops of water fill up the ocean, our collective endeavor will achieve something wonderful. And so let us see. And these are the qualities. I mean, just from one verse we are getting so many qualities that a leader must have. Like a leader should be determined. Although they are offering these attributes to Prithu Maharaj, but it is actually our responsibility. Anybody who wants to become a leader must acquire those qualities. He should be determined. Determined in doing what? In achieving the goals that they have. Lest we have to contemplate, we have to start acting how to achieve our goal. Determined, shouldn't deviate from our determination. Then and always situated in truth. That's another thing. A leader must be truthful. But when in the light of this, when we see today's leaders, how do we see them? Like we can see a bunch of liars. Practically, most of the political leaders are always lying. Anyway, from there, they are actually the things that in front of us to see what we shouldn't do. What they're doing, a very easy way of understanding what is our responsibility is just by seeing what they're doing. And our consideration should be, we shouldn't do that. And they should be respectful towards, or lovers of Brahminical culture. And render all service to old men and give shelter to surrendered souls. That is the nature of a Kshatriya. Even an enemy comes and surrenders, a Kshatriya will forgive him. Like Parikshit Maharaj, he was prepared to kill Kali, but as soon as Kali surrendered to him, it was okay, fine. But you can't stay in my kingdom. Kali said, well, the entire world is your, entire earth planet is your kingdom, where shall I go? And okay, where there are these 4 sinful activities. In your kingdom, those sinful activities are not prevalent. Where shall I go? I don't have any place here. And then he gave the final place, gold. Gold means where gold or wealth or money is not used in Krishna's service. If gold is used in Krishna's service, then it's a Lakshmi Devi. But if the gold is not used in Krishna's service, rather, if the gold or wealth is used for one's personal comforts and personal gain, then that becomes the place of Kali. So, it's such wealth of wisdom that Srila Prabhupada has given us. And our business is just to follow that. If we simply follow Srila Prabhupada's instructions, Prabhupada's guidance that he has given, not only our lives will become perfect, but the whole world will become perfect. Thank you all very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanande. Hari Hari. We have a few minutes for questions. Yeah.
Yesterday, in response to Bhagavati's question, you recited a beautiful couplet about the sun and the lamp. And I thought it was very inspirational, especially during times of struggle and trials. If you would not mind repeating that again.
To repeat that? Sure.
It's in Bengali, but I'll just say the English translation.
But you can say it in Bengali too.
In Bengali?
And English, both.
Okay. Okay, so. Keloi mor karjo, kahishantha rohi, শুনিয়া জগৎ রহে নিরুত্তর ছবি মাটির প্রদীপ ছিল সে করিল স্বামী আমার যেটুকু সাধ্য করিলাম আমি। Do you understand? So the English is
the setting sun asked, who is going to take up my responsibility now? Hearing that, the whole world remained silent. But there was a small little lamp in the corner of the room. It said, whatever little I can, I will do. Thank you. Yes.
Krishna Maharaj, I have a question. You emphasized yesterday and today that leaders should know where to go. And then today you made the point that determination is a quality of a leader. I think my question, Maharaj, is like sometimes, probably from my own tendency, know where to go and fully, like full speed ahead, just run in that direction. But then we might neglect those who cannot keep up with the pace of things. So how can a leader practice patience, and how to practice patience in so that everyone feels the same way, like the same determination? Like how do you transmit determination with varying capacity?
Well, my simple reflection to that is actually that in an institution like ours, we should move together. In that respect, we can consider one example. The engine of a goods train moves with the same speed as the last compartment. You see, the engine could move so fast, but then the others would have been left behind, right? So we shouldn't try to move fast with our own pace. Like we have to carry others also along with, and we should also sort of use whatever energy we have that we could actually move forward with a tremendous speed, should be utilized in helping others also to move forward. Yes, yeah.
Maharaj, thank you for your very sobering and awakening class. So I have a question on, you mentioned about protection of the elderly, women, children. From a managerial point of view in our society, are we expecting that the temples provide these facilities, or some affiliated organization, or what would you advise? As we are seeing it a lot happening. And also, a second part is that we might find a case where a devotee has served in one temple, maybe a different part of the world or a different part of the country, and comes to retire to a different temple, which that temple did not inherit his services or didn't enjoy his services, and thus it's kind of difficult for them to recognize or protect. So how would you address that?
Yeah, I mean, these are the big challenges. You see, one problem, major problem that we have to fulfill those needs is that today's world has become so expensive. You know, like materialism has reached to such an extent that for everything there is a need for money and it costs so much. And that's why, you know, practically everyone in household situation is compelled to take up a job, because temple cannot really provide. The brahmacharis are all right, but householders, you know, is becoming difficult to maintain. And I mean, these are the challenges that we have, you know, like, and that's why really the best recourse is to create a situation where we can be self-sufficient. That's why Prabhupada was always emphasizing the need of farm community where we can actually be self-sufficient. Because living in a city is very, very expensive. The rent is so high, everything costs money, transportation becomes so expensive. But if we have, you know, like, I mean, these are the practical, you know, challenges that we have to face and overcome. And the thing is that we have to start working together to accomplish that, you know. And as you're asking, you know, who has the first responsibility? And yes, the temple or the community where they are, the community actually has the responsibility. And in a large society like institution like ours, there are resources available. But at the same time, I'll just give you one example. You see, I don't want to mention the names, one devotee became sick and his in a foreign country where he didn't have insurance, he, you know, came up, he was hospitalized, and the bill was naturally and very, very expensive. And an appeal was made worldwide, and the help came. And, you know, he actually got more money than the medical bill actually was. Then another devotee became ill in such a situation. Again, the appeal was made worldwide and the support came. But then, you know, another devotee became sick in another same situation in a foreign country. And now this time, the support and help was not so much. Because you see, like once, twice, but time and time again, if it keeps on happening, you know, then, you know, like, and these are the reality, you know, like, The main thing is, like we have to, as an institution, we have to create, arrangements like that so that devotees in distress can be helped. And you see, Kali has spread his influence so effectively all over that unless and until we compromise with him, it's going to become extremely difficult to deal with those situations. Again, I'll go back to that, the leaders of the movement have to think of ways and means to deal with situations like that. And I'm confident that if you collectively think of something, then it will happen. Like a simple consideration is actually having our own insurance arrangement. You see, insurance companies are making trillions of dollars profit. Everybody gives a little. And everybody doesn't become sick at the same time. And whoever becomes sick, then they have the support. These are the things that we have to consider and make arrangements. And so now that you all are coming forward, so consider, the possibilities, how to do that. Like about the insurance company, I actually spoke to somebody who is involved in insurance. And he gave some very important suggestions. And anyway, this is how we can actually consider. Because in reality, we have to face these situations. And then we have to actually find the solution. And I'm sure Krishna will help. Krishna will help. And it's not only us that will face the situation. The whole world very soon is going to get into a total chaos. Just the other day, I think we were discussing that the point came up that everybody wants to have a job and have an easy, comfortable life. But my response to that was, for how long? Everybody wants to have a job, but the number of jobs are limited. So what will happen? There will be massive unemployment, which is already happening. Like the statistics from last year, that in France, there is 50% youth unemployment. In UK, which is unheard of, 30% youth unemployment. So, like today, maybe they're able to handle that situation, that calamity, crisis. But, very soon it's going to reach one point, that they won't be able to deal with it anymore. And there'll be total chaos. Therefore, at least in our own way, we can try to deal with such situations. Like as Prabhupada gave, self-sufficient community. Land is there, cows are there. From them we can get all the... And we don't have to surrender to the existing medical system. We can create our own Ayurvedic medical system, which is very natural. The concept of Ayurveda is for every disease, nature has provided the cure. So the Ayurvedic doctor knows what is the cure for which disease. And of course, they don't get into all these complicated things like any problem, just start surgery. Surgery is there in Ayurveda, but that is not the first resort. Basically, the cure is there, and okay. So anyway, my point is, you all are being trained in this college so that you can become the leaders. You are the future leaders of our movement. And so let's, all work together and see how we find the solution. Thank you. Yes?
Maharaj, there are 50 people watching online, and one person has a question they sent in. He says, Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, thank you very much for the discourse. Guru Maharaj, I like the point of taking care of senior devotees in the movement. I would like to contribute for that. My question is, how to become or determine Dhrita Vrat for serving sincerely to Srila Prabhupada? Your servant, Anantavir Krishna Das.
No, what was the question?
My question is, how to determine Dhrita Vrat for serving sincerely Srila Prabhupada?
How to determine? Dhrita Vrata. Oh, Dhrita Vrata. Okay, fine. Yes. To be determined in achieve the goal. What is our goal? Every town and village. Right? So let's work towards achieving that goal. We have to be determined. This is our mission, this is our goal. And the way to do it is by, Prabhupada has given us all the arrangements. Books are the basis. Distribute books. That will impart knowledge. And that will motivate people to commit themselves to Krishna consciousness. And this is how this movement will spread. Not only will spread, is spreading. Is spreading. Srila Prabhupada has made a perfect arrangement for us. Now we simply have to commit ourselves to that arrangement. So it looks like there is another question. Mataji, do you have a question? Oh, okay. Okay. So okay, last question because we are already over time.
I just wanted to promote an Ayurvedic product on behalf of
So Maharaj, thank you for the class. The point of one of the qualities of a leader is to inspire loyalty. Sometimes there's leaders that inspire loyalty, but the loyalty goes for the wrong. It goes ultimately for the wrong purpose. So just the ability to inspire loyalty, whether it's from charisma or some shakti, it has to be guided by a higher principle.
Yes, right. Yeah, that's why the leader should have the appropriate goal, right? And as we just discussed, our goal is already there, every town and village. So that should be our goal. Or in simple words, assisting Srila Prabhupada to accomplish his mission. Now, instead of doing that, we, as you mentioned, the charismatic leader attracts a lot of followers, win their loyalty, but he is not fixed on the goal. He tries to kind of do things other than Srila Prabhupada's goal. And that causes problem. And, therefore, as an institution, we should be very careful that, everyone is functioning towards achieving that goal.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Gaur Premanandi.
Holiness Bhakti Charu Maharaj.
I do